I have another question.
Yep.
I've got some cameras in our too. Just about a filing cameras in the bag.
Carrie's not here?
No, she's
May in Vancouver. She's at a housing conference.
You're live.
Let's get to the screen.
Order. I would like to acknowledge the Smoky Valley, on which we learn, work, and organize is the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territory of the Snoqualmie people, and is home to the Upper Snoqualmie. I'd like to adopt the agenda and to item 1, which is the proclamation for the International Day Against the proclamation that was in the package is based on that proclamation, so we all acknowledge it. Okay, so if I can get a motion for that. Second by Councilor Willis. Question, all in favor? Great. There's a delay for Councilor Elliott. That's great. Adoption of minutes. March 15th, 2023 regular meeting of Council. The recommendation is that the minutes of the March 15th, 2023 regular meeting of Council. Right. So call for adoption of the minutes of March 15th. Question here. Carried. Item 3.2, March 27th, 2023 special meeting of Council. Minutes of the March 27th. Okay. Elliott. Call the question, all in favor. Petitions and delegations, I see none on the delegation. And address, but unfortunately, it's on the agenda. I can't speak to it unless you're on the list too. There's questions after about how to come on the agenda. Unfinished business, none. 6 staff reports. 6.1, the business facade improvement grant application for 170 Avenue. That recommendation also approved. Okay. Do I ask for the staff report first? Oh, and I believe that is
Thank you. We've got a business facade improvement grant application from the owners of 117 Vermilion Ave. This is basically revitalization of the storefront. It's the big turquoise building currently. They're looking at restoring stucco trim, new exterior paint, paint and caulking around the windows. Replacing the awning shingles, adding exterior lighting, and some new landscaping adjacent to the entrance to the project estimate is for $10,500. So they're requesting the 50% up to $5,000.
I have a question. Is there a time limit on Teleactive?
I believe it's 1 week.
Yes, sir.
Do you have the number of how many?
This is the first time here we have one that is open and they're in the middle of their implementation. Up to $20,000 sort of thing.
Councilor Elliott, any questions? Okay, so no further questions. Call the question, all in favor? Okay. All in favor, 30. And then item 6.2 is the PPC active transportation grant for streetlights. And that is Dr. Schatz.
Thank you. So this is to asking council to award the contract for the new streetlights to Diner Rep Sales Group. They came in with the best bid for the project at $215. It was a very difficult process because it's a unique type of industry. There's 2 companies basically in the West that do this. We tried sourcing through another company out of Seattle to get a third quote. We got directed to Quebec, who directed us back to Vancouver, who directed us to a guy that was in New York. So that became kind of a big runaround. So we ended up with these two quotes came in. These are the custom designed lamp posts as shown in the image. And these will replace the lamp posts that are on Bridge and Vermilion. So they not only are more energy efficient, they're also able to meet the safety standards, and we'll see what's expected. Our current lighting on Bridge Street doesn't meet the Tier 1 level that's required today. The new ones will be at Tier 3 to Tier 5. If you refer to the image, you see a street image there where it's showing. The little circles show the light pattern where the lights will actually shine. So they'll be more efficient without providing too much ambient light. They'll be like light pollution, so they'll actually light the street. You'll be able to see people at the crosswalks, and when we get into our dark season, it should provide a lot safer and brighter environment. The posts themselves are adapted to be able to accommodate the hanging basket on one side, and there's room for a flag attachment on the other side, so we can hopefully add color and things to the town year-round instead of being limited to just our summer season. Yes, this is the BC Active Transportation Grant.
As you could possibly probably imagine, as one of the members of the council, when we put in the lighting that was in there now, it was to go with a Victorian theme that we were instituting. Required like low lighting mimicking gas.
Mission accomplished.
And the problem being that once it got dark in the winter at 4 o'clock or 4:30, we deserted downtown. I am looking forward to this for a long time, and to get it on a ground basis, I have to do a lot of credit for all. I don't know if you know, but we keep getting grant after grant. It's, maybe part of that is nothing, part of that is whatever. Really appreciate the fact that not only are we finally improving this, but improving it with grant money. Thank you.
What kind of timeline are we looking for?
So it's about a 12 to 14 week to have the lights made, because they're all being custom done for us. So by the end of summer, these will be up. The difference in the amount of the grant and the total will go towards the install, and that's part of that is our in-kind contribution. Our guys will swap poles out, and then we'll have the electricians coming up at that time. But it'll all fall well within our grant. We actually came in under budget, so full instead. Yeah.
Dr. Schatz, is there an increase in the number of streetlights?
It's a 1-for-1 swap, but I think we will have a few extra ones in there. We've accounted for that. So there will be a couple additions, and I think that the new, I was told this morning that the new property on the corner, they need to comply with our lighting, so they might tag on to this order. We'll know more tomorrow, but they'll be paying for their own. But we could have them ship the first time.
No further questions on question. The recommended motion, which is that council operate staff to award the contract to Diner Rack Sales Group for $232,157,000. Streetlights on Birch Street, Diner Million, and approves the designs.
I second that motion.
Okay, Councilor Elliott, can I second that motion? There's a delay for her. Okay, so we'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, Councilor reports.
Other than the special meeting of council, I don't have anything to report for a couple of coffee games. We got a big one on Thursday night, so everybody's come on up.
Councilor Elliott, are you ready for your council report? Oh, you're muted. Councilor Elliott, you're muted.
Oh, I guess, yeah, I should unmute myself. I went to a Princeton Arts Council meeting last week and shared with them news about the the band shell project, and that got them pretty excited. And I think they're looking forward to being able to utilize that in many different ways with upcoming programs. So I was pleased to be able to share that news with them. I want to mention that from our March 15th special meeting, we made a motion that we released from the 90.1 about the Princeton Exhibition Association. And I just wanted to touch on the fact that the decision that the town made to resume the operation and management of that site came from the result of a letter received from the president, who had stated that the majority of directors of the board had agreed that that would be the wisest course of action to follow. And so I just wanted to make sure that that gets out, that, there's a lot of rumors floating around right now, and I wanted to kind of squelch that if I could, that it was apparently majority of directors who had directed the executive to go forward with that, and the town has acted upon that, and I believe the steps are in motion to assume responsibility of that site starting May 1st. CAO Thomas can expand on that if he likes, but that's my report.
As Councilor Wills stated, we're continuing on in our request to connect up with the symbol or link right. I just wanted, I mentioned this before, but I'm very impressed with what I was doing in terms of street, not only the Parks and Grass, but getting that dust up off the street so that it doesn't end up all over your car or house or whatever. So it's the word of I just for the work that they've done on this service. And that was
They have no further reports that things were taken special meeting. So I'll just carry it on to the next item, which is item 9.1. China Ridge Trails Association. There is a letter, they're requesting a letter of support. And the recommendation is that council direct staff to provide a letter of support regarding safety concerns of the European switchback near the end of West Transit Road.
I'll make that. You gotta say something loud. He looks like you're going to say something.
The second by Councilor McLean. Does anybody have any questions on that? No questions, I'll call them. Motion.
I was just gonna, the information you gave me was, I thought they were talking about something down near town area that was straight up down there.
So my understanding, maybe my understanding is the hairpin one right at the top, right below the T-bar, the old T-bar line, which is right before the entrance.
Yes, that is correct. That's a corner that's been very contentious for them. It's been difficult in the winter time, and buses that they rely on for bringing tourists up are having trouble navigating that. And so, although it's outside our jurisdiction, they're just asking for our support in therefore trying to get it fixed.
You can just mimic what you're just saying in terms of the fact that it needs.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Any questions? Motion. In favor? Opposed? I'm thinking it's carried, but Councilor Lee, in favor. Okay, so that motion carries. 9.2, 2022 Carries Rodeo Parade on May 22nd, 2023. An invitation to Mayor and Council to attend the 2023 Karen Meets Rodeo Parade. Recommendation is that Mayor and Council attend the 2023 Karen Rodeo Parade on May 22nd as available.
We don't have a firefighter.
It's not. You could call it, but you can't call it.
Any motion? All question in favor? Okay, carried. And then 9.3, light up green for Lyme awareness. So the recommendation is that council approve the request to light up town hall green for May 3rd, 2023 for Lyme Disease Awareness Month and provide information about Lyme disease on the town's website. So Okay. Okay, Councilor, go second. Sorry, any further questions on that? I actually have a question. That is in our ability to do that.
Gary is our lighting master, and he can change it.
Great, excellent. So, all question, all in favor? Okay. Okay, so for 9.4, the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, the proclamation that's in the agenda, as I mentioned, and we made the amendment, is that we are going to do the proclamation, so I'll read that out. So, International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, whereas all people in British Columbia have the right to realize their potential regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity and expression, and to live at all times in conditions of dignity, respect, and peace. And whereas, despite recent efforts towards greater inclusion of LGBT people, homophobia and transphobia are still present in society. And whereas, the goal of the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia is to increase understanding and visibility for members of the 2S LGBT+ community. And whereas the town of Princeton is committed to the belief that equal opportunity and treatment should exist for all people, and all individuals should be valued and celebrated for their unique identities and contributions. Therefore, I, Barb Gould, Deputy Mayor of the town of Princeton, do hereby proclaim May 15, 2023 as International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia in the town of Princeton, British Columbia. May I get a motion? Any questions? All question on the paper? And then item 10, bylaws and resolutions. The growing communities reserve fund bylaw number 1037, 2023. So the recommendation is that council give the BC Growing Communities Reserve Fund bylaw number 1037, 2023 3 readings. This motion and report was brought up by Mayor Coyne. And do you want to
I can open it, but James is probably the best one to speak to it. So, I mean, this is the new fund based on the calculation the province has. The town of Princeton has received $1.926 million for infrastructure. There are still more details coming out on how we can spend this money, but we did get a letter, and it did kind of give us a framework on what they're looking for. But the things we do know is that it must be dedicated to a reserve fund for transparency, and that we have to report on it annually. So I'm going to turn it over to James to explain a little bit.
Thank you, Lyle, and Madam Deputy Speaker, Madam Deputy Mayor, I should say. So anytime we receive funding that we're not using, must be used for a capital project or put into a reserve fund. This letter specifically produced a requirement to put it under a reserve fund under Section 188 of the Charter. This bylaw does that and would fill the requirements of that bylaw. Specifically with the financial plan, this was discussed during the budget deliberations, that we are trying to consolidate our reserves into the financial plan bylaw, mostly for the purposes of transparency. We want all the reserve funds to be listed in one bylaw where it's very easy to reference what the purposes and what the where the funds are going, where they can be used, and what they can be used for. The actual creation of a bylaw may be slightly duplicitous in that process. So the recommendation is to pass it for 3 readings. I'm still going to pursue the Ministry of Municipal Affairs at this point and see if it is required to actually create a separate standing bylaw. I suspect it's not, but I will bring that to the next council meeting, along with the third reading of the financial plan, to make a final determination on whether this bylaw is required or whether it's just going to have to be real for housekeeping purposes. It's kind of unnecessary. But the recommendation is to give this bylaw 3 readings, and that's a recommendation to step up and put forward to council.
Thank you. So, and further clarification on that, the purpose is because within the letter given by the minister, that's why the recommendation is there to do a separate bylaw. If this bylaw, so looking for clarification the first third readings, if this bylaw does pass, there will be the expectation that there will be an amendment on our third reading or the reading of the financial plan as well. So we'll just wait to find out when.
Yeah, the financial plan itself will need to be amended regardless, because again, the methodology we're trying to follow is that all reserves are placed in one bylaw. So we'll have a bylaw that designates this and a bylaw that designates this. So it will be duplicitous and be 2 bylaws that essentially do the same thing. However, there's not real problem against having 2 bylaws that do exactly the same thing. It just makes more paperwork at the end when we exhaust the funds and we go to remove the bylaw. Then we have to pass another repeal bylaw specifically just for that, as opposed to every year we pass a financial plan bylaw. We just remove the reserves that we don't want to use in the future. So it's a housekeeping thing, it's a transparency thing. But I will absolutely go to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs tomorrow and just some clarification on that.
Perfect. And the background is in regards to funding as created, the creation of a second fire hall for Emergency Reparation Center and Fire Training Center. And that was announced by the Minister on March.
I actually did print off the verbiage of what will be in the financial plan, so I'll just hand that out so you guys see. The excerpt from the amended financial plan that I presented for third reading.
Okay, so the recommendation is to give bylaw number 1037 2023 Councillor Elliott has hand up as well. So moved by Councillor Lewis, second by Councillor Elliott. Any questions on that?
So for this notification that we're required to put it in the reserve fund, the procedure prior to that would have been that we just simply spend the money where we were going to spend it, and then send, required to send some kind of notification.
Yeah, any funds that are received by the municipality will go into a reserve fund. It's just mathematically impossible not to. If we receive funds, they generally go into the consolidated surplus and use general revenue. The letter that was written by the province requires us to specifically make a reserve fund for this money and place the money in that reserves. So that's not the issue. Because of the way the letter is written, we have to create a reserve fund for it. So Section 188 of the Community Charter says that a reserve fund must be created by bylaw. So whether that's created in a consolidated bylaw or an individual bylaw doesn't make much of a difference. So so that's where the duplication comes in, because we want all the reserves to be in one bylaw so everyone can see what the reserves are defined as. But they can be enabled by individual bylaws, but both are.
So do you see the reason for their request?
Yes, they specifically want to make sure that when you put the money into a reserve fund, it's used for capital purpose. So that's also stated in the letter that
the file and then
it must be used
for this and something for that.
That's right. So it can't be used operationally, which would directly probably affect the property taxes. So I suspect that the province does not put dollars that released to municipalities just to be used to offset property taxes. They want it to be used for actual capital infrastructure purposes.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thanks. No questions on the motion? All in favor? Carries unanimously. Okay, item 11, is done. Number 12, agenda and item number 13, agenda amendment 2023, regular meeting of council. Elliot. Question on that. Carrie. Okay.